Kia ora level 2 PE whānau. So today in this video we're going to go over how you can actually take the information that we've broken down from John Doe's results from 18.1, 18.4 and also utilize the training program overview to create a training schedule for a single day. So what we're going to use today is the Monday session for week 1, and we're also going to look at Tuesday's session for week 1 as well. Okay, so without further ado, what you can see inside this purple post-it note over here is I've gone through what we've already written down as well as his scenario and looked at what we need for Monday's training schedule. So the targeted components of fitness that we're looking at is increasing his muscular strength, applying the principle of specificity here because he needs extra strength or an increase in strength, especially within his deltoids, to increase his efficiency for completing the jerk motion in the hang, clean and jerk. As well as that, he told us that he became tired during the push-ups with particular reference to his triceps. So we need to increase his muscular endurance within his triceps for the hand release push-ups. Our methods of training for this will be as follows: resistance strength training, moderate sets, moderate repetitions, high weight. That will create chronic adaptations within his muscles and his nervous system, as his body will be forced to adapt to this high weight resistance and cause his muscles to get slightly bigger, as well as increase his neurological system's reaction time in terms of generating greater contractions across the muscles and greater neurological stimulation from his neurons. So his brain sending signals to his muscles and causing the muscles to contract harder. As well as this, we'll look at resistance training. So high sets, high reps, low weight. This is going to be for his triceps again, so he's more efficient at the hand release push-ups. Now, by doing these high sets, high reps, and low weight, it will cause these particular muscles to chronically adapt to increase their glycogen stores and their efficiency at the specific movement that they're going to be targeted for. Now again, we'll go through our principles of training. We've already done specificity. So we've said that we need to apply this principle to improve the components of fitness directly linked to the components of fitness, plus energy systems trained, but there's no energy systems trained on Monday. We'll also look at progressive overload, which will happen once we get onto our second day. Regression, use it or lose it, so we know what that is. If we don't use it, we lose it. Tedium, so variety is the spice of life. We need to make sure that the training program's actually interesting so that we don't get bored and stop wanting to do it. Frequency, we can see the frequency already across our training schedule, okay, including his extracurricular trainings. So we're looking at, if we open this up, a frequency of around 3-6 trains per week, which is quite good, right? Intensity, so how hard, or when we're talking resistance training, how heavy the weight is. So intensity when we're training our energy systems, how hard we're working, how fast we're running, how hard we're driving on the erg and what rating we're using. Intensity, which we've just gone over. So again, how hard we're working on the erg and how fast we're going up and down the rating, how many strokes per minute, known as rating. Type, so which methods of training are we utilizing, and time, how long are we training for? So this is always going to be within our class scenarios between 60 and 65 minutes with the exams going on at the moment. So let's apply this information. So if we go to John Doe, day 1, we can see the information's already there from our training log. So we always want to start, right, with our most intensive or tough exercise in terms of a resistance training format when we're combining multiple elements. So we know that we are increasing the muscular strength for the deltoids, for specifically the jerk. We want to apply the principle of specificity here, so we're going to choose an exercise which is similar to that jerking motion. So we could select from a multitude of them. We've got the barbell jerk, we have the push press with the barbell, we also could do the movement itself, a dumbbell jerk, we could also do a dumbbell push press, or even a military press where we use just the barbell and no work from our legs. So let's say we want to be as specific as possible, or close to as specific as possible to this movement. So we'll do a barbell, so BB, barbell jerk. Okay, now we want the weight to be heavy. We know the bar is 20 kgs. We're going to be using 15 kgs within our program. So we will make this relatively challenging. Let's say we're going to start with 40 kgs, right, for 5 reps and 5 sets with a tempo of 1. So we're going to be explosive in the first movement, and then 3 because we're going to control it down. Now we've worked the deltoids pretty hard here. We can continue to develop their muscular strength if we want, or we could even give them a little bit of a rest and go to our triceps for a moment here. So we might even do some tricep push downs. And again, we're working for high endurance, so we might just do this for 18 kgs, 20 repetitions for 3 sets. And we might go for a 2-2. So we're relatively fast on the way up and relatively fast on the way down, still utilizing control there. So probably one exercise isn't enough to increase our, or John Doe's or Joe Doe's tricep strength, deltoid strength. So we'll do another one. Right, this time, because we've already done an accelerating movement, right, so we're using the momentum of our lower body to help, we might do more of an isolated exercise. So we might do a dumbbell shoulder press now, but we'll still use the same repetition scheme. So 5 of 5 is normally a pretty good rep scheme and set scheme for strength, and a little bit of size too. So, what weight should we use? Well, if we're doing 5 repetitions, we're not utilizing the momentum that we're generating from our lower body, so we might try 12.5 or even 10 kgs depending on how he feels for the day. Okay, now we've done that, we should probably do some tricep push downs. We've done that already, so we'll work on his muscular endurance there again. So how can we do that? Well, we've been specific with the muscle already. That should have pre-fatigued it. We want to be specific and continue to improve his ability to do a hand release push-up. So we might do, let's say, 30 push-ups, which will work on his muscular endurance of both his pectoralis major and minor, which are main agonists in the hand release push-ups, as well as his triceps. So we'll be targeting that entire movement, which is again very specific. So we can put hand release push-ups. Awesome. And then it's going to be body weight for 30 reps. Because we do it 3 times through the workout, we might do 3 times here. Okay, and 2 for control. And just to finish ourselves off, we might even do, let's say, some dips, right? Again, using very similar muscle structure and our own body weight whilst we train for muscular endurance. So we can do dips, not tricep dips, right? And body weight, let's say, because they're relatively challenging, let's say around 10 to 15 repetitions, and let's try for 3 sets. And we want to be explosive on this because we're going to be pretty tired, or John's going to be pretty tired at this stage. So this is a pretty straightforward program that we've got here. Our targeted components of fitness, if we just go back to our notes, we can copy them over, right? So muscular endurance and muscular strength, just copy them right over, which is the beauty of doing this note taking before, right, we start programming. Okay, methods of training and use, and we've got strength and muscular endurance resistance training. Resistance training. Our principles in use. Okay, so we have, of course, prime one first up, specificity, and we can probably save ourselves time, right, by just putting the sport fit acronym, because we're going to be applying that to all of our training. And now the evaluation questions will be answered after the completion of the workout. So this is a great one for Monday. Let's work on now Tuesday. Okay, now we're moving on to Tuesday's training. We can see that the component of fitness targeted here is the anaerobic endurance system or energy system, right? So we're going to want to create chronic adaptations within that. So we have to work very hard at a high capacity for a short amount of time there. The method of training that's being utilized here is going to be circuit training. Now, because we're using circuit training, we can also add in a targeted component of fitness of muscular endurance. Okay, so moving back to it, we're not doing muscular strength anymore, so we can get rid of that. Goodbye. Muscular endurance, and of course, anaerobic fitness. So to start off with, we probably want to do a circuit for this one, right? It replicates what we're doing in our training, so it's utilizing specificity again. So instead of putting exercise, we can put circuit under here, right? And then combine these to demonstrate that that is going to create the majority of our training here, right? Excuse my terrible spelling. Now we want to use exercises that are going to, again, be specific to what we're doing in our circuits. 18.1 and 18.4, so we can actually take movements directly from that. So we can start, say, with a row, right? Relatively challenging for him. So we're going to go a row. We're going to make it, because he's doing 14 calories, let's make it 18, so he's training harder than he has to do for his actual test, right? Train harder than you compete at. Makes it easier. So after that, let's say we have completed that. Let's go to bear crawls, right? We're going to try and eliminate some of the upper body work, because he should be fatigued from the previous day's training. So this will be on a Tuesday after the Monday. So let's go 20 meters this time. Okay, so a bit further. After that, well, he said his abs were easy. His leg hangs were fantastic, or knee raises were fantastic. So why don't we do some total bars instead, right? Work on a new skill. And let's do that for 10 reps. Okay? So that will be 10 reps. And we'll just change the parameters up the top to suit this at a moment. Cool, so let's say that is our first circuit. So let's do sets. We'll say let's do this 5 times through. Okay, so that'll be pretty rough. So he's going to do the row, right? First exercise, followed straight away by the bear crawls, second exercise, and number 3, toes to bar. Okay, we could, if we wanted to, add some more exercises in here. Okay, and the tempo, we can actually get rid of that and put rest time. So in between each circuit, we'll give him 1 minute rest, right? So that might be pretty small. We might give him to, say, start with 3 minutes, okay? And then as he gets through the training program, we can reduce that rest time. So that can be a pretty good start to the session. And then after that, he can utilize it for recovery and stretching, as, again, he's going to be doing 6 trainings per week, right? So that's a really useful way to optimize his time. So we can get rid of this. Keep the sets, keep the rest. Cool. So should look pretty straightforward, right? I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's answered some of your questions if you still have them about programming for a day. Next video, I'll go over how we can apply progressive overload. Thanks very much for your time. Ka kite anō. Catch you in class. Take it easy.